Hey everybody, happy Thursday. It is Kate Richberg and we are live on the special Thursday edition. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing well. Getting through. September's almost gone. It'll be time for me to take down my birthday month decorations that are still up, but not quite yet. Not quite yet. So, two things. We're going to work on this necklace today. I'm going to show you. That's one thing. And we're about halfway sold out, which I'm stoked that you guys love it. I've been wanting to do this necklace for a while, and I'll talk to you about it in just a second. But the other thing, come with me, if you will. Let me put the comments on. Oh, it's great to have everybody here. Look, everyone's here, including Janice. Thank you, JP, for being on the other side of the computer here. Let me take a bracing drink of coffee here. Okay, so before we get to the kit, I'm going to add my screen. I'm going to share my screen. Let me make sure that it's all good there. Okay, let me go back here. And let's share it. Let's see. And I think it's, I also want to make sure. Sometimes I have some other YouTube tabs open and they randomly start to play. So those are also off. Okay, here we go. Here is the homepage. I think everybody can see that, right? So first of all, let me show you where the kit is. It's called Viva la Vida. Kind of as a nod, we kind of did those Lola earrings on Wednesday. I've got my Lola earrings sitting here. Here they are. I'll put those down so you can see. It goes really well with those earrings that I made on Wednesday as well. Thank you, Janice, for linking that kit. You can see right there on the home page that you can click the kit's available until it's sold out. And you can see that Lola earring next to it, how great that looks. But let me navigate to our Just In page. You're getting first looks on this. Myra's asking, how do I like my coffee? I like it very strong and very black. Nothing, give me 2 shots of espresso and I'm good to go. So, so maybe that explains a few things, I think, right? Let me go to Just In right here. Let me go here. Can you see what is there between the Viva la Vida kit and the East Coast gathering with Janice? Can you see it? Yes, it's the intro to your sewing machine. Learn the basics with Kate on an online class. It's launched. So if you are into doing that online sewing machine class that I've been promising, let me show you. It's here. So all of the info is here on the page. Okay, so I'll let you look. There's lots of room in the class. The way it's going to run, and you can certainly shoot me an email if you have any questions. But the way the class is going to run, we have a virtual classroom, right? And you know me, I've been doing virtual classes since beadshop.com did them on VHS, right? Back in, when did we do that one, Janice? 2000 maybe, right? Be Kind, Rewind. But it's all going to be virtual. It's going to be in our Zoom classroom. I'm looking to have that classroom space right here, right there on the website, so you can access it after the fact at any time. These classes are going to be paid classes. They are not going to be free content. And, as much as we'd love to put more of that content out for free, some of the classes, like, this sewing class, other things we kind of have kind of muddling around in our head, those will be paid for classes. The great news is that you'll have access to those classes forever, really, right? Once you pay for the class, you'll be able to go back through, you'll be able to watch it. The one thing that we ask is that once you've paid for a class and once you have access to it, we would love it if you don't show the whole class to you and your girlfriends that get together and watch the class, right? Every person that watches the class should have a paid seat, right? That I think is fair. So yeah, so that's what's going on. So that's the first one. That is, and this is for you if, and so many of you in the comments, you will be able, a lot of you have said, I have a sewing machine, but it's just hanging out, right? I haven't used it, or I haven't sewn in, 30 years, or I don't even know how to turn my sewing machine on. This is the class for you. Just like I did in my introduction to torch classes, in my introduction to metalsmithing classes, stuff like that. We need to start with the basics, start with your basic tool. So you're really going to get to learn your sewing machine. I'm going to go over a lot of stuff, right, about your machine. Oh, and thank you, Mary Ellen. Yeah, the class is going to be 2 to 3 hours, probably, right? And it's going to, and this will just be the first one. I'll do more live classes on, the sewing machine, introduction, stuff like that. I'll do them live, but then you'll have access to them. I'm also going to run, what the cool thing about Zoom is it has an AI capture. So we'll be able to do a class outline from the class itself while it's going on. So you'll have access to that. You'll also have access to ask me questions. I would like to eventually have some kind of office hours for sewing and needle arts and stuff like that. So it's all evolving. This is just the first of many fun things. Don't worry, the bead content isn't going away. We're just enriching. And Mary Ellen, we are dropping the feed dogs. We are. It'll be really fun to, to see where this goes. I have a lot of really fun, interesting projects that are kind of in my head. One of them is, this is the top I made with my students in France. It was really super fun. It's really super easy to make. Many of you have said, Kate, I want to sew. I want to make some clothes. I want to put my own stamp on my sartorial look, right? And I am all for that. So yeah. So let's start with this. See how it goes and see where it takes us. The class date is going to be in 1 month from today, October 25th. If you sign up, so all class sales are final. Okay, so if you sign up and you can't make the live, you'll still have access to the recording. So if something comes up, you sign up and you're all, oh, the 25th, I forgot, I'm doing whatever it is I'm doing that day. And you can just, you can just watch the replay, right? So Clarissa, thank you. Clarissa's all, wait, how do I sign up? So let me show you. Okay. Let me get back to this. Let me add this to stage. Here is, so if we go to the, whoops, I'm clicking, hold please. I'm going to make a little template for, or a little, link on the homepage. But what I did was, let me go back here. Hang on. Let me go back to the homepage and let me walk you through it. So here's the homepage. If you go to Just In, click on Just In, and it's right here. Intro, so you can add it to your cart this way, like that, or you can click in, read everything, and add it to cart there. Okay. And then you just check out. And then I'll be emailing everyone in class some like guidelines, some things before class, some reminders, all of that. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. And then more sewing content will be coming to the virtual sewing classroom. We'll talk about patterns and stuff for like this, other patterns, other resources. I have a ton of resources and stuff for you. So don't worry, this will build. I worked on this last night when I was having a little trouble sleeping. I'm all, you know what? I'm going to launch it. I'm going to launch it today. I was going to launch it in tomorrow's newsletter, but you know what? I'm like, let's just do it early, right? So it's going to be fun. We're going to be in our Zoom classroom. I have a lot of experience running classes on Zoom. I did a lot of classes during the pandemic. That's how we taught, especially with metalsmithing. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to bring this back. And who knows where it'll go, right? Sewing, other needle arts. I'm just really, really excited to share the knowledge from my foremothers who taught me, my grand make, do, and mend, right? So I think it's going to be really, really fun. So wherever you are in the world, we'll be able to come together around the sewing table, which I'm really, really excited about. So yeah, so that's that. And thank you. Oh, Fatima, my dear friend, thank you so much. I'm so glad. And Leslie, that's high praise. Thank you so much, because I know you've been beading for so long. These are all brick stitch around a drop, and they're up on the website. These are the earrings I made out of the Blue Note mix, so they are there. So yeah, so thanks for trusting me. If sewing's not your gig, maybe it will be, especially if you have a sewing machine that's laying around, right? And there is no class limit, Clarissa. I'll be able to take, well, there is. I mean, I'm taking, I think it's 50 students in the online class. In the online classes, that's what we do, because, you have the best seat in the house. It's up close, it's personal. I've got a lot of great ways to get you close and personal to what I'm doing. So there isn't a class limit, though I will be running this one again. So yeah, but this is, it'll be great, for you to jump in. Leslie, how come that's not a surprise? You are so great with color. And I think those of us who really love color, maybe started in the sewing field, and perhaps my mom will join us to drop some pearls of wisdom too. And there's also quilting, my friends. I know a lot of you really want to learn to quilt and stuff like that. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Those of you who know Leslie, I should do an introduction. Leslie, and Leslie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Leslie is responsible for a lot of designing and stuff over at the Beadsmith. She's a very, very seasoned designer, and it's so gratifying to have you pop into our lives and say hello. So we really appreciate you. We really appreciate you doing that. Okay. And yeah, Janice, we'll get you quilting, right? There's a couple of really great kind of beginning. And also, that's right, Twisted Sister Beads. Yes, thank you for putting that up. Thank you for that. Yes, there we are. That's what I miss. Lynn is saying here, your mom was your first teacher, and lots of simplicity books. I really, That's one of the things about Joann's closing, a big box store. It has left a hole. I mean, it is great that we can patronize like smaller mom and pop stores and stuff like that. But the way that a big box store like Joann's, or from the old days, House of Fabrics, New York Fabrics. Does anyone remember New York Fabrics, Beverly's Fabrics, all of those old school fabric stores? You could gather around like where they kept the pattern books, right? And you'd be sitting there and you'd be thumbing through, and there'd be someone else, who would come and sit at the pattern books, and they would be thumbing through. And then pretty soon, like all of the pattern books would be kind of, being passed around, and someone is like, do you have the Vogue? I when you're done, could I have the Vogue? Or I'm done with the Butterick. Do you need the Butterick? And it was kind of like this instant sisterhood, brotherhood, personhood that kind of came around the pattern table. I miss that. And whenever, I needed a little dose of inspiration, I could go just and walk those aisles, right? Right? No, exactly. It was like a coffee klatch. Exactly. And I would meet people that I would know from throughout town and stuff. So I don't know so I would go to, if I had to run out, and a lot of times I'm working, I wear like my Kate Richburg, my metalsmithing apron, right? So I would look like I worked there. So the joke was that I'd go into Joann's, and once in a while I would have someone come up to me. I remember there was this woman, I think I was in like the notions aisle, and she just looked like she was going to cry. And I was all, and I looked at her and I said, do you need help? I didn't work at Joann's. I was wearing an apron though. And I guess so she trusted me, right? And she's all, yeah, I'm trying to find heavy duty thread. She kept horses, and she was trying to stitch clothes like her horse, I don't know, blanket or something. And no one like could help her or whatever. So she was trying to figure it out. So I said, not a problem. Come with me. So we walked over to the thread, and we're talking about heavy duty thread and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And then finally, so she gets her thread. I mean, it took like, maybe 10 minutes. I don't know. She got her thread and she said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope I didn't take you away from something else that you were supposed to be doing. And I said, no, it's my pleasure. And then we're checking out. I get my stuff and I see her. She's ahead of me in line. And then the memory, it shows on her face that she realized that I didn't work there. And she was like, thanks. Did you don't work here? And I said, no. I said, but crafting is my life, so it's not a problem. And it was very funny. And so the lady behind the counter at Joann's asked me if I wanted a job, and I said, not on your life. But it was kind of funny. So I have been known to, the joke is that I just haunt the aisles in the big box stores and just help people. It's my superpower. It is really, so that's my story. I guess I should get to the necklace as well, but it was fun. Yeah, my mom, my mom's mom, she taught sewing to my mom's eighth grade class. It is true. We come from a long line of sewers. It is fun, isn't it, Terry? Assisting shoppers in the bead aisles a few times in stores I do not work in. It's always fun to help. And yeah, I did. I worked at House of Fabrics. for a short period of time when they opened in Gilroy. It was fun. It was fun. So, well, let me add this. So enough about sewing and reminiscing, but that is to say, I promise you, you will be in good hands. We'll have a lot of fun. And you'll learn about your machine. And if you think beading is fun, sewing kind of scratches that same itch. And I break it down pretty easy for you. Okay. So I know, Terry, right? So early, we're not even an hour into our chat. I know I need to focus more and not chat, but what are you going to do? All right. So let's take a look at this kit. So the kit is called Viva la Vida, long live life, long life, love life. Kind of means all of those things. It was the name of La Maestra Frida. Her last painting was Viva la Vida. And I just thought, since we made these earrings that honored the great photographer Lola Alvarez Bravo, I thought we would do kind of a contemporary. So here are the earrings. I finished them both, so they're ready for next week's live. Okay, so they are just about ready to be finished. But I thought they looked really, really great with this layout. So I want to show you the necklace. I put this together. I strung this yesterday in anticipation of the show. I actually forgot one of the beads. So instead of using a new kit, I'm actually going to cut this apart and restring it for you, right? Well, it doesn't take long. And I want to show you how I laid it out, because you may differ, okay? But let me show you what it looks like on. So this lengthwise, let me get my tape measure. The beads are all semi-precious. I'll tell you what they are as I'm stringing them. There's a couple of African trade beads in there. A little bit of metal. It's kind of a nice kind of mix. So this is 36 inches, okay? 18 and 18 about, though it'll be a little bit longer when I put in this missing bead. This is also a great way, if you do have some of these larger like Tibetan beads, or if you want to add to them, we still have some of our Tibetan beads in stock in our Tribal and Trade section. So wearing it long, let me show you. Wearing it long looks like this. Let me get back. And I just happen to be wearing my Frida top, right? But this is 36 on me. Okay. You can also wrap it twice. So let's do that. I was going to make it with no claspless, but I added a little button. You can add a different clasp if you want, but I'll show you. I thought that a little button actually would be kind of nice for it, so you could wear it doubled. So see, look at how great it looks doubled like this. You could also make two separate necklaces if you wanted to, right? You only have one button, but you could add another one of these buttons to your cart, or use a clasp that you have in your stash, okay? So let's look at this now under the camera. Let me get this here. Let me put this here. Let me get rid of those. And this is the wayward one that I forgot to put in, which irritated me. But I'll just cut it up. I'll show you. We'll do a little cut up of the necklace, and then we'll redo it. So I did this in an ombre color order. Okay. You don't have to follow that, but I love when I'm confused about how I want to string something. There we go. I default to color order, to ombre, right? It's fun. Oh, that's what happened. One of these flew off. Hang on. I was like, wait a minute. What happened here? Yeah, I'll get another one. You need to be careful, folks. I'm like, yeah, something flew off. So I'll show you what I did with these rings. Good thing I have some spares. The rings on here are carnelian. I'll take these off. They're carnelian, and then they are um, dyed green quartz. Okay, or I think it's a quartz because it's kind of transparent. So you get two of these. The thing about these rings, though, the hole sizes are kind of small, and I was hoping to be able to string them in line in the piece here. With the leather that I've chosen to string it on, these don't really fit in there. Well, this one does. Not all of them do, to be honest. The one that I tried didn't, but this one seems to. So if you luck out and you can get your leather through, you can do it this way. But I love how these travel along. The thing, though, that you want to be careful, like what I did here, was I had the carnelian and it flew off the end, right? Because there was no stopper. These down here have a stopper because that bead is large and that bead is large. So you just want to be careful because if these do hit like the concrete floor or whatever, since they are semi-fresh, they will break. Okay. So let me just talk a little bit about the method as I cut this apart and restring it for you. So these guys here, they're kind of hard to see on the camera, and not everything has been knotted. I'm using the 0.5 millimeter distressed pumpkin. You get some in your kit, right? So you have a stringing material. You could use any stringing material that you like. You could use Irish wax linen. You could put this on soft flex. It doesn't really matter, but I chose this 0.5 millimeter leather. So these are an agate that have been kind of dyed and painted to look like those ancient Tibetan beads. They have that crackle surface on them. I really like them. So you get those. Now I'm going into this red onyx here. Oh, and I didn't tell you, these right here, they're hard to see. They aren't onyx. They're actually like a really, really dark cat's eye. They have a little bit of reflective in them. They're kind of hard to see on the camera, but they're just a beautiful bead. So here's this red onyx. Then we go to these crackle ones. Then we have one of these big brass ones. Then we get into some showstoppers, some say something beads. This is, again, one of those agate barrels in kind of this carnelian colorway. This has been color enhanced, but the color is very stable. They're just gorgeous. So the beads that you get on these big ones like this will all be slightly different in the same color family, but the patterns and everything will vary because it's a naturally occurring stone. So I've got this right here. It's the matte banded agate, banded carnelian. Isn't that gorgeous? We've got one more of these guys. Another of those like impression jasper barrels. That goes there. More of these kind of distressed impression jasper barrels. We had these in some larger beads. We still might have a few left in stock. So you get those guys there. This one, I wanted a little more yellow, so I got this yellow eye bead. These are the African glass, recycled glass, the currents, or tides out, I think is what these are right here. So we'll put those there, 1, 2, 3. These are a showstopper. Let me cut these apart so you can see them. These are golden obsidian. Look, and I will, thanks, Terry. I will add the list because I do have a picture of this long necklace. I just didn't have time to do it, so I will do it after the broadcast. Look at these golden obsidian. I wish that I had a ton of strands of these. They're matte and they're just gorgeous. They just glow. They're really, really pretty. So those are they. You get 4 of those. Here's the Ashanti saucer. Here's another agate barrel. You can see it's got a lot of color in there, that impression jasper barrel. Then we come to, I'll take these guys off. We'll put these aside. These would also make great earrings, right? Size-wise, just to let you know. And if you go ahead and string this on soft flex, you'll definitely be able to get the soft flex through here. We just can't get it through the leather. These are, let me go to millimeters. Outside diameter, 26 millimeter. Inside diameter, a little over 15. So in inches, that's almost 3/4 of an inch. And outside, they're about an inch. Okay, so those are they. Then this is Amazonite. So it's kind of a blue. It looks kind of white here, but there are some darker blue, very light blue, and it's those micro-faceted ones. One more of these brass rondelle beads. Right here, I need to be careful with this knot, not pull it through. Another agate eye bead. Oh, don't pull. So don't make this fatal mistake. I'm doing this quickly. So do as I say, not as I do. If you pull a knot and it gets stuck, you can't get that knot back through. So I was pulling and not paying attention. So let me see if I can get that knot back up. Because I wasn't really sure where I tied knots. I didn't tie knots next to all of them. Let me see. It's a good thing I've got extras. Because again, once you, and I know better, I'm just rushing. So let me see if I can get this all to kind of push this back. Oh. Well, let's see if, yep, okay. It pulled through. So you really, so I'll show you with these. I completely lucked out on this. Let me show you. Here, there's those 2 currents. These are a dyed rainbow obsidian. So it looks like this golden one, but these have been enhanced with color. They are exquisite. So see here, here's that knot. I need to get my cutter in between that knot and the bead like that, right? So it's good to go. If I cut it like above and then I try and pull it through the bead, you can see where that'll lead you, right? So each of these, pardon me, each of these have been knotted. Okay, so The large hold beads I haven't knotted in between, like these I haven't, this one I haven't, but the small hold beads I have. This is porcelain jasper. It's just gorgeous, 10 millimeter. Really, really beautiful. Then you have a couple of the little 3-cornered diamonds at the end to help you close that up, okay, to knot it closed. So that one goes there, that one goes there. This right here, I'm going to put this one in between. That's where that one goes right there. And I neglected to put it in yesterday. Okay, so let's move this over. Let's move this down. Let's get rid of kind of this. And I'll show you how to start. So this is when I start with a loop. And I know that's counterintuitive because we need to know what the button size is. But I'm going to show you kind of how to figure that out. So here, this is, I think you get about 2 yards of the 0.5 millimeter. And so I'm going to start by just coming in. I'm going to put this, I'm going to work on this end so I don't have to go all the way down. I'm going to put that guy on. And I'm going to come around and I'm going to make kind of a loop. Let me get a little tighter in here. Right. And yeah, this is kind of in that rainbow order, ombre style color order. There's never anything wrong with, you know, this rainbow colorway. It's always really fun to create. So here we go. Here's that loop. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come in, I'm going to make a knot with this loop being on the end. Okay, like this. Now, before I tighten anything up, I'm going to tighten it a little. I'm going to get my button because I want to make sure that the loop is going to go over the button. Okay, so I'll kind of leave the button in there and then I'll kind of tighten it down. This is the 0.5 millimeter leather, so it will stretch a little bit, but we don't want to have to shove this button in there and be really crazy. It can have a little bit of clearance. That's what we want. Okay, that looks great. So now, let's tighten this sucker up. What I did here was, oh, the window's open. I bet you can hear the 144th coming by. Oh, thanks, Emily. Emily 2 is here today. Miranda's still on vacation, but we've got our Emily 2. She's busy packing orders as we speak. Miranda will be back. She just earned a well-earned break for sure. So here this is. So Terry, that's a great question. Let me tell you. Doesn't matter if you start with the loop end or the button end for the necklace. I tend to add the clasp at the button end first. I also usually start with the button end. Okay. However, the way that I'm stringing this and knotting it, it's easier for me to close this single strand with this button than it is to close with the loop. And you'll see why when I finish this up. Okay. So this 3-corner comes up. I can kind of put that little thing through and then it's just kind of like that. Or I can leave that little end out. Whoops, sorry, I was drifting there. Okay. So now let's just string. Okay. It doesn't take that long. Let me zoom out. This is a good time to ask some questions, but I'm just going to start over here. And this 0.5 millimeter really sails through these. Now, you don't have to tie knots if you don't want to. I am, pulling these on. This is 2 yards here. I'm going to come in, I'm going to tie my knot, and I'm just going to use my thumb and pull it in. I know that was really fast, and I'll go slower to show you. Okay, so here it is. I've pre-strung some of these, right? I'll put this through. It also helps if you have a bead like this too. You can also use a knotting tweezer. The beauty of this kind of knotting that's on leather is that you don't have to get the knots seated one right next to the other. Where did my tweezers go? They were here yesterday. I can use my awl. That works too. You can just put your awl right in there like this. And just kind of get it in there. Tighten that knot around. See what I'm doing there? Now, before it's super tight, I can get the bead that's coming down next, and that helps me tighten that up too. Okay. This bead has a pretty big hole, but I think it's not too big to jump over the knot. So I'm just going to tie another one. So here, see what you can also do, like Janice does with her pearl knotting with just her hands, you can get that loop, get your thumb on top, and pull it tight like that. I tighten the knots. I don't tighten the knots so tight that they're compacted way down, because I think that the beauty of this piece comes in really seeing the knots. So see there, that knot looks nice there. So we'll do this. I'll stop and slow down a little ways down, but let me get these on there. So a bunch like this. Again, this is that cat's eye here. It has a little bit of sheen to it. It's really pretty. So here are these. I come in and I'll just see how I have these two on there. I'll flip them through. Thank you, JP, for adding the pearl knotting handout. You know, we also, Janice and I did that pearl knotting masterclass. There's all kinds of ways to achieve that pearl knot. And so many of you have written in that you have really enjoyed that masterclass. Janice and I are kind of thinking about what we're doing for the masterclass. Will start up again after the beginning of the year. And so we're not sure what it is we're going to do. So if you have any ideas, we're always open to them. No knots here because these holes are big. So I'm just sliding those on. Now we'll get to these nice dyed onyx. They'll call it red jade too. Sometimes you see vendors call it that, but it's not really jade. It's enhanced, as we say in the business. But the cool thing about beads now that are quote unquote enhanced, meaning dyed, technology has come a long way in the process. A lot of these processes are very proprietary. So even like when you talk to the vendors and stuff about kind of trying to further your knowledge, it's kind of crickets, right? Which I get. I mean, you know, it's a competitive biz. So, but yeah, but it's come a long way since the days. And fortunately, we use semi-precious vendors that we've been working with for a while. So we're pretty confident about the quality of these guys. Okay. Janice, thanks for letting me know. We do have the carabiner clasps, the cabaret clasps. JP, if you want to put them in and we know that we're getting them, we can go ahead and pop them in if you want. The turquoise stem hilly would be amazing. I know that you probably have some stockpiled here, but look at how beautiful. Look at this, just like this. Isn't it great? Now, in our tribal and trade section, if you want to add to these, like if you want to add more currants or tides out like this, more of these agate beads, you could add in some vintage finds, the melon vintage finds. All of those would look great. I'm not going to take the time to grab them here because I want to string this necklace as is with the kit. But anything you see in those categories, I think you'll be really happy. The quality of all of these beads are terrific. We tried to bring it in at a price that was affordable. I know it's not super inexpensive, but it really reflects the value of the beads. So, and the beauty of the quality of these guys. So let me show you. This is one of those big brass, hammered brass beads that I like to just kind of, I try and make this as kind of stiff and straight across. I could add some zap here, but see, that's pretty straight across there. Now I visualize as this goes through, and see there, I can get it through that center. If I just kind of visualize the center of that bead. Again, still no knots here. And I think what I did was here, I came in and I added these so these float. But do be careful. Don't do what I did when I took this off and I flung these, right? You could put them on this side of this bead, the big bead, and it would act like a stopper. But I think I want them on this side. So just be careful, okay? So here goes, look at that agate barrel. Get out of Dodge. So good, right? So here's this. So now no knots here, no knots here, no knots here, but I'm going to put a knot here. Question for me? You're good? You want to see what I'm stringing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Emily's eyeballing what I'm doing. We're going to get her stringing, right? So it's looking pretty good. What do you think? Yeah. Yeah. You're going to be sending these all over the place. Emily likes photography. That's her art. I also found out today that she likes aquariums, which I like the idea of. So she definitely has an eye for color. So see here, we're going to put this one in. That's also matte. Really pretty. And pull this down like so. Okay, so now let me measure this out because can you see, let me zoom out. I really considered making this into two necklaces. So can you see how like this piece here is kind of would be like one short necklace, and then that piece up there could be one short necklace. So if doing two wraps and then wrapping them around twice isn't your jam, just make two shorter necklaces, right? You could also hold the phone. Take a look at that real quick. And it's a good screenshot time. let me show you a couple of things just for fun. You know me, I can't flip it. Our 10 millimeter rounds, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get, oh, yeah, I'm going to get these. Hang on, I'll be right back. I'm going to get these. And let me get a couple of vintage finds just for fun. The vintage finds. Okay. I'm going to get these and these. Oh, and these and these. Okay. And maybe this. Okay. Isn't it good to have the stock back here? I could never do this broadcast before. I'm so relieved. Let me just put all this here. Okay. So look at this. These are the vintage finds, the giant melon. Now you have to remember, these are not included in the kit, right? I didn't want to make the kit like $1 billion, but you could add, look at these. This is the carnelian 10 millimeter round. The hole will definitely accept the 0.5 millimeter. And look at how, right? So you could put that one in, if you're doing this in 2 separate necklaces, right? Especially, you could add this strand. It would look amazing. This is the faceted African turquoise. We've got some other in the blues and the greens. I think we've got the sodalite and stuff too. You could add that to the green side, right? Wouldn't that would be delish. Look at these giant melon, the carved melons from the vintage finds. You could throw one of those in. And then you could have these green float in between so they really wouldn't come off. I could do the same thing with this one. I could just use maybe something that had a little more red to it, or I could choose a different, we've got so many vintage finds. Here we go. I could use these serpentine ovals. Look at these. So good. So I could throw like that serpentine oval in there. And if you have friends that love this would make a great holiday gift. And you could split these out, use half for one necklace, half for another necklace, and then you'd have 2. They're really gorgeous. This matte banded carnelian, the quality is gorgeous. As you know, where are these beads? Janice, these are in vintage finds, and then this is in semi-precious. These are the semi-precious 10 millimeter rounds. If we go to beads and gems, and we go all the way down to gems and earth stones, and you sort by 10 millimeter, you'll see all the 10 mils come up. Okay, let me pop that in the chat right here. I know we have so many things that sometimes it's right here, JP, right there. I'll put the semi-press and everything up on the homepage. But we have, let me go here. We've got the faceted dyed green jade. We also have the chakra gemstone mix. Look at, I mean, you could take these for this side and these over here for that side. Wouldn't that would just be amazing, right? Wouldn't that be great? So if you've already placed your order, with Miranda not being here, just place a second order, and we'll combine it for you. Okay, don't worry. Miranda has the and soon Emily too will as well. But we'll combine them for you. So if you're like, oh, I needed these, we'll be happy to do it. Look at these carved barrels right here. The carved barrels, if you wanted to do something that's like a real statement bracelet too, these would look really great. And you could just put like one of these with them. If you wanted to, oh, and thank you, JP, for that. Please combine. And it always helps to have an order number, but we're pretty savvy. We can figure it out. But combining within a 24-hour period. And yeah, the melons. So if you're, let me show you here. Let me share my screen one more time for you. Bear with me. Let me make sure that I'm sharing the correct screen. And let's go here. Okay, can you see that? Yeah, okay. Let me go here and let me go to the home page. Okay, if you go under shop and you go to beads and gems right there, okay, you get to the beads and gems page. Right here on that top row is vintage finds. These vintage finds here, see, there it is, that giant melon is there. You can see we also, and we're going to replenish. I hope to get more of these jade cicadas. I just love them. I think we'll be able to restock that honey serpentine. But see, we've got a lot of the really great carved pieces. Look at the carved drum. Can you take it? I can't take it. They're so gorgeous. So a lot of these kind of serpentine beads that are natural, and these are old. The vendor that we get these from has been a friend of Bead Shop forever, right? And we're really lucky that he has this old stash. I mean, these beads are probably, I don't know, 30 years old, Janice, you think? Between 20 and 30 years old. They just, you can find the carved serpentine, but it's not like the old school is, right? It's really great. They're just so gorgeous. Let me also show you, I know the giant melons are so good. And we try, if you put in your order with these, like the color that you want, if you want a dark one or a light one or a multicolored one, we try and honor it when we have the selection. If we don't, whichever one you get, I hope you love, okay? Because they're all gorgeous. Let me show you our, let me go back there, where the Tribal and Trade is, okay? So we're going back here under shop. We go to beads and gems, and right here, let me click on that for you. All of the popcorn padres that we carry are there. You scroll down, you can see all the currents. Hopefully we'll be able to restock some of these colors that we're out of. You know, these are all handmade. They're handmade in Ghana mostly. So it just depends on what glass is available and stuff like that. If we go up here, you can kind of sort here throughout. If we just click on beads, you can see there's the popcorn padres, stuff like that, some of the older pieces. And then we have the, let me unclick that. Let's go back to this page. You'll see all the metal spacers and stuff in there. So it really behooves you to kind of, you know, scroll through to find. So here down at the on page, what page am I on? Page 3, I think. Here's a lot of the Tibetan style that we have are there. Okay, so That's where those guys, the remainder of what we have, would be fun. Those Tibetan dragons, that would be fun to grab one and put in here. So I hope that helps a little bit. But when you're here under shopping and under shop, beads and gems, first and foremost, everything is right here. And you can kind of delve into the different categories. Okay, I hope that's helpful. All right, let me get back to and Janice is saying anything that's out of stock in vintage finds, we'll be getting those back in. They come in and they go out, so we promise they'll be back in. So let me take this out. Let me continue my oh, and thanks, JP. That's perfect. Would you? That would be great. Add links to the kit page. That would be terrific. Thanks, JP. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, it's hard sometimes the website is constantly evolving. I feel like I'm fighting a losing battle, Janice and I both, about, oh, where is that? And, oh, we need to make sure that's linked, or is that tagged correctly, right? So, it always is good to take a little stroll through the aisles, just like you would take a stroll through the aisles of a big box store. You can kind of click on the links. You can also put things in the search box. You never know what might come up. What else do I have here that isn't in the original kit? These, I just, come on now. They're just gorgeous. These are called, that chakra strand, because the colors that kind of coordinate with like different chakra points, if you're kind of into that kind of thing. But these are really pretty. Again, these are 10 millimeter. The amethyst, the lapis, the denim lapis here, aventurine, red tiger eye, yellow aventurine, and the red jasper right here. And the holes on these are really great, and they'll all fit on this 0.5. So let me put that one there. Let me get rid of these carved barrels, which I love, the serpentine barrels. Serpentine is California's state stone. Like a lot of the mountains and stuff. You can also pick serpentine up sometime on the beach. Look at these squares. These are great to add some dimension to your piece as well. Okay, let me get back on it before I got off on a tangent. I'm going to string these. Oh, let's get these African turquoise. African turquoise is not turquoise. It's actually a jasper, but they call it African turquoise because I think a lot of it is mined on the continent of Africa. So really gorgeous. Thank you, JP, again for adding those links. I really appreciate it. So here we go. And again, don't feel like you have to string this. I'm going to start going on Kate speed here. You don't have to do this on leather. Again, this is the 0.5, right here. The 0.5 millimeter is so nice to work with. Let me get a little closer here. I string a lot with the 0.5. You just kind of have to test it to make sure that there aren't any flaws or anything, but it's nice and sturdy. It might stretch a little because these beads are heavy, but if it stretches, that's okay. It just adds to the beauty of the piece when it's leather. So see, there's that eye bead, that yellow, just gorgeous. I actually pulled these. I pulled the remainder of what we had out of stock and added them to the kit because I loved them. I had to have them in the kit. So I think we've got 2 left to sell. Hopefully I can get more of those. These Tibetan eye beads, the replicas. They're not vintage. These are new. But again, look at these tides out, these glass. They're just luminous. They're gorgeous. I did tie a knot there, but these holes, it fits there. You can kind of see that knot. I'm not going to tie a knot between this one and this first golden obsidian. Hopefully I can get a bunch of these to sell as strands. They're just gorgeous. And the 10 millimeter, if you recall my Great Bead Extravaganza broadcast with all the 10 millimeters, it's a really just gorgeous, really gorgeous here, like this one right here. So you could also string this on the Ceylon. This is that super bright neon regular Ceylon. You could do this too. And this would be really great to stack with these, right? This is that sodalite. Unfortunately, we can't get any more of this color right here, but yeah, I love them. So the bead mat, Debbie, you're talking about this one that I'm working on. We do. So we've carried this one. This is the design board that Janice loves, and I have come to love over the years. So what happened with this bead board is our supplier stopped carrying it because I guess we're like the only people that sell it now or use it, whatever. But, you know, it's old school. I love it. It's not cheap. It's a spendy little tool, but you only need one, and it makes things, I mean, you can see, let me zoom out. It really makes your beading surface. It really works well. So what Janice did was she contacted our supplier, and she said in firm Janice tones, "How dare you? How dare you discontinue our favorite mat?" So and again, that's why, you know, we've had our vendor partners for years, you know, decades, really. So we had to order them in bulk. So we got to order them. They're coming back. They're making them, they're ordering them just for us, but it's taking a while to get them because, you know, import situations and tariff situations or whatever, but they're coming. So put yourself on the notification list. We're going to stock them for as long as we can, right? As long as we can get them, as long as they'll ship them. But when they come back into stock, grab it, okay? Because again, I'm not sure. But it is such a good piece. So see, now we're starting to kind of go into the blues here. So I'm going to put that on. Let's put on these Amazonite, which I love. They're microfaceted right here. This first group of design boards will definitely, I'm going to break this up. I think I'm going to put one right there. This group of design boards will definitely come. Well, nothing's definite these days for sure, but we have them on order. We're not going to put them into stock until we have them in our hot little hands. This one is also hollow. So I'm going to try and straighten this out. Oh, and thanks, Janice, for the update. We hope that they'll be back in by mid-October. So we'll see. It's a great board to have, and I didn't really know about it until I came back to Bead Shop, and Janice is like, "This is the best." And I was like, okay, JP, never doubt her. Just don't doubt her. This one isn't going to want to come through, but I'm going to do it. Oh, it was almost there. There it is. Okay, there it is. So, okay, let me tie these. We're almost there, real close, real close, because I want to show you how to close it up. So again, I'm just going to make this one into that long necklace, right? Yeah, I love it. Storm. Yeah, Janice is a boss chick, that is for sure. I'll be honest. Right now, business is challenging in these times, especially for small businesses, right? I mean, we've been doing this since 1982, online since 1996, right? It's crazy when you think about it. And the ups and the downs and all of this, we've just never seen it business atmosphere, this kind of thing, the way it is right now. It's tough for your small business friends. So not only this small bead business, but our other small bead business friends that are in the Great Bead Extravaganza and those who are not in the Great Bead Extravaganza, we're all friends. We've all known each other for, as I say, decades. I'm going to slide these on now. Everybody is, trying to do their best. So now is the time to support your small businesses. And we get it. Everybody, money is tight everywhere. Okay. So the ways that you can support businesses without, if your budget doesn't allow it, you can always, amplify their social media, share their, share their posts, share the projects. If you have crafty friends, I mean, word of mouth, my friends, is the way we've always done it, really. I mean, because on socials, we fight that social media algorithm with everyone else, right? So, your support, whether it's monetarily, through your socials, sharing content, a friendly word in our email box, and so many of you do that and reach out and say, how much we're appreciated. It does not go unnoticed. And because we have feet of clay like everyone else, if and when we make a mistake, we are so grateful that you are understanding, because that's also the beauty of a small business, is that if something goes awry, we can fix it. We don't have to talk to corporate. Hell, we are corporate, right? You're looking at corporate right here, right? So we appreciate you. We're just, hoping to get it going. Kaliti, I have no idea what this hype button is. What is that? Is that a YouTube thing? I need to get going on that. See what that is, Audrey, you 100% could use Ceylon. I just showed this Ceylon in this one from the Great Bead Extravaganza. And you could string this like I did with the Great Bead Extravaganza. Let me get this focused. So see here how I did this, and we did that carabiner clasp in the center. Janice just restocked them, right? So if you want these are getting a little thin on the ground. So yes, grab it now. You could do this same thing, right? and have it close with a carabiner. That would be gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And close it up with one of these pearl caps like I did, right? Oh, it's like a like button on. Yeah, thank you. It takes a village. I'm in. I'll look at it. I'll look at it right after this broadcast. Awesome. Love it. So, yeah, these little pearl caps, we still have these in stock. And this would look great instead of the button. What comes in your kit is this button, and we make the button and loop this way. So I'm on the home stretch. We've covered so much of this on this, right? And we're climbing. We had like a whole bunch of people subscribe. We are so close to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, my friends. Once we hit that 100,000, I want to get there. We're getting closer. And you folks have really, really helped us to grow those numbers. So our heartfelt thanks to you, because without you folks out there, we couldn't do it here, right? So here's this. There's the last bit. So these have large holes, so I'm not going to tie in between. And we're going to go through here, and we'll do this. No worries, Audrey. No interruption, no problem. So there's that one on the home stretch. These are the porcelain jasper. Really lovely quality. I really feel like, especially now, these 10 millimeters, like this necklace that I did here, this is so my jam right now. I love them so much. They're really good. So we'll go here and here and here and here. Okay, so now it's time to add the button. Okay, so let me zoom in so you can see it up close. And I'm going to come in. I'm going to go through. I'm going to go down. Oh, whoops. I forgot this. That's why I put these in here. This little three-sided. And going through. Yeah, I'm going to have to look up this whole hype thing. I'll talk about it as soon as I know what the story is, right? I mean, social media is such a game, you guys. It is such a game. It's crazy. I can't keep up with everything, but I appreciate your heads up. That's awesome. So slide it through. See there, I've gone through the button. Now what I'm going to do here is I am going to tie the knot. And yes, Deborah, these buttons, I love these buttons too. And I feel like I use these buttons too often because I just love them. They come in this gold tone. They come in a silver tone, kind of an antique silver. It's a little bit larger. And then it comes in a round that's silver as well. And so if you go to buttons, our button category, you'll see these. I use them all the time. I use them on wraps. I use them on necklaces. I love them. And they're really affordable. They're really great. So, Stem Hilly, I could not agree with you more, right? It's just crazy. So let me show you how I tie this knot. Okay. I come in and I'm going to tie a half hitch in between these two beads. So I come in around the back. I come in through that loop and I tighten. Okay. Then I do it again, but I'm going over the top and around and through. Okay, like that. Then what I'm going to do here to make sure that this knot doesn't go anywhere, before I tighten it up, I'm going to get the GS Hypo Cement. Let me zoom in a little tighter so you can see this. This blue agate beryl stem hilly, if I have any left, I'll put them up separately. I might have them limited. I mean, just look at it. It's just gorgeous. They're all going to look a little bit different. This one is a particularly good one, but they're all gorgeous. But after I'm almost done with all of the kits, so I'll see if I have any left, and I'll put those up separately. So here's that knot that's loose. If I do, I'll put them up in tomorrow's newsletter. Okay, if I have any of these components left over. I'll add a little bit of GS right there. I'll tighten this up, right? Tighten it right there. So that's not going to go anywhere. That glue, I'm going to add just one more drop. There we go. Let me get the lid on this. So that's why I started with the loop. And if you missed me tying the loop at the beginning, go back to the beginning of the broadcast and you'll see me tie that loop that this goes into. The loop was just easier to do. Sorry. Like that. So here, I'm going to leave a little tail here just for fun, right? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'll tie, let me pull that knot up just a little. Right, like that. You could also add a little bead or something here, but I'm not going to. We'll come in and we will cut it. So let me put this on the camera so you can take a nice screenshot. But there's a nice shot of it on the product page. And Janice very kindly did all of that linking so you can find some of the other stuff that we talked about in this broadcast. The kits are extremely limited. I didn't have enough to make a whole ton, but they're selling pretty briskly. So thank you for that. But if you want one, now is the time. Let me get in there. Now's the time to grab it. So here it is all laid out. Let me give you a measurement because I added that bead in. Yeah, this is, you folks love these agates. I'll see if I can find them again, right? They were really limited from our vendor. They really are good. So I promise you, we will keep carrying these nice agate barrels. It's just what's available, to us. Look at the gleam on these dyed obsidian. Gorgeous, right? So this is, it's about 18.5 inches or so. The other blue bead, this is a large, like the eye beads that we have. These guys that we have on the site now, this is just the larger size in the blue. We have these in the blue in small too. Okay, so let me double this over. Again, you could wear this doubled like this. Yeah, it is pretty good if I do say so myself. Sorry, my beadboard's a little dirty. It's got some beads on there. And let me put the Lola earrings with it. Look at how great that ensemble is going to be. I'll measure this agate for you, Annie. Yeah, it's beautiful, right? Let me go to millimeters. That's about 38.5 millimeters, about 1.5 inches. Okay, and all of these are about that size. These are the smaller ones that are about 1 inch right there. So the necklace is, yeah, about 36, 37, depending on the variation of the bead sizes. That'll be about right. Okay. So also do remember that we have added, let me add this. We have added our very first, for those of you who have come in late, our very first online sewing class is in. It's right here. It's the Intro to Your Sewing Machine. Learn the Basics with Kate online. I'm super excited. It's going to be a month from today. It's going to be fun. So that's kind of the beginning of our sewing content. So take a look. Those of you who sign up, you're going to get some more info from me. You will have the you'll have access to that class at your leisure, right? So it'll be fun. That's just the start to get everybody going. So I'm very, very pleased, really excited to share that content with you. It's going to be a lot of fun. The class is going to run probably 2 to 3 hours. I advertised it's 2, but it's going to be probably closer to 3. Yes, I have a lot of my sewing machines in that stable. I love how, Audrey, some of them are the ones that your mom had. I have some modern ones. I have some old ones. I have a semi-industrial. I have a serger. So we're going to go over a whole bunch. Sewing machines, basically, the stitch is the same. It's just that you kind of have to intuitively know how your machine works. So we're going to go over that. I'm putting my, let's see, I'm 59. So I started sewing when I was about 5. So over 50 years of sewing experience. Wow, that makes me sound old. I got to go lie down. Okay, so that's that story. So you can find it. I'll link it in the newsletter tomorrow, but I wanted to give you folks a heads up on it. So let's do that. So that's that. Tomorrow will be Free Tip Friday. Check your newsletters because it is the I think kind of the big project for the fall. I've seen it in my on my Instagram feeds, pre-made ones. So it'll be perfect to get your holiday jewelry started. So that'll be in tomorrow's newsletter. Then mark your calendars for Saturday. Saturday morning is a stitch in. We're going to do bead embroidery. And then FYI, for next week, we're going to finish these earrings off. It's going to be a pre-record because I am going to visit some friends. Don't worry, I'll be around. It's a quote unquote working vacation, but next week's Wednesday's broadcast will be a pre-record. But Janice will be here answering questions. It'll be just like I'm here with you. Okay. So that's what I've got. I will see you folks tomorrow for Free Tip Friday. Thank you so much for joining and making this such a lively broadcast. I will see you folks tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.